This video is about applications of special right triangles. So in number one, we have the perimeter of a rhombus is 80 millimeters. Find the length of each diagonal. So if you're given perimeter, you want to take perimeter and divide by the number of sides. So in this case, we have an 80 perimeter and 4 sides, which means each side of your rhombus is 20, because all sides of a rhombus are congruent. Remember, one of our properties about a rhombus is that the diagonals are perpendicular and they bisect each other. So I'm going to use the triangle at top to find the length of my diagonal and then fill in the rest. So I know that the other is 60 degrees, and across from 30 is the S, across from 60 is the S root 3, and across from 90 is the 2S. So if I have 2S on the same side as the 20, 2S is equal to 20, S equals 10, which means part of the diagonal is 10, and the other part is 10 root 3. So I can fill in my congruent parts of my diagonals. So my diagonals then, when I add them together, have a length of 20, because 10 plus 10 is 20 millimeters. And then 10 root 3 plus 10 root 3, so my other diagonal is 20 root 3 millimeters. Number two, find the length of each diagonal and the perimeter of the kite. So in this problem, we have two triangles built into each other. Remember that our diagonals are perpendicular and the shorter diagonal is bisected. So first, I'm going to look at my 30, 60, 90 triangle and label what I know. So across from my 90 is 2S, across from 60 is S root 3, and across from 30 is S. So notice that I have a number 24 on my 2S side. So I'm going to set 2S equal to 24. S equals 12, which means this length is 12, and this part of the diagonal is 12 root 3. Also remember in a kite that two of the consecutive sides are congruent, so this is also 24. And then my diagonal is bisected, so this is also 12. Then I can move to my next triangle, which is a 45, 45, 90 triangle. And in a 45, 45, 90, across from the 45 is L, across from the right angle is L root 2. So this time I have L and 12 on the same side. So L is equal to 12. So the other piece of my diagonal has to be 12. And my side is 12 root 2. And it's a kite. So both pieces on the outside are 12 root 2 for my side. So now to find the length of each diagonal, the first diagonal I'm going to do is my shorter diagonal. So 12 plus 12 equals 24. The second diagonal is 12 plus 12 root 3, and there's no way to simplify that, so I'm just going to leave it. And then my perimeter is 12 root 2 plus 12 root 2 plus 24 plus 24. So I get 24 root 2 plus 48. Number three, the diagonal of a square is 8 inches. Find the perimeter of the square. So I'm going to draw a square with a diagonal that has a length of 8. So if my diagonal has a length of 8, remember that a square is broken into a 45, 45, 90 triangle with your diagonal. So the sides of my square are both L's, and my diagonal is L root 2. So if I know the diagonal is 8, I'm going to set that equal to L root 2 and divide by root 2. Remember, you can't have a root in the denominator, so I'm going to rationalize. I get L equals 8 root 2 over 2. My two numbers can reduce, so L is 4 root 2. So each side of my square then is 4 root 2. So to find my perimeter, I'm going to add up my 4 sides of 4 root 2 So my perimeter is equal to 16 root 2 inches. Number 4, the perimeter of an equilateral triangle is 60. Find the length of the altitude. So if I have an equilateral triangle and I draw in my altitude, this forms a 30, 60, 90 triangle. And across from the 30 is S, across from the 90 is 2S, and across from the 60 is S root 3. So if I have a perimeter that is 60, I'm going to divide by the number of sides. 60 divided by 3 is 20, which means the whole side is 20. So if I know that the whole side is 20 and that's my 2S side, I'm going to set 2S equal to 20 and divide by 2. So S is 10. So all I have to do is substitute to get that the length of the altitude is 10 root 3 centimeters. Number 5, a ramp forms a 30-degree angle with the ground. If the length of the ramp is 45 feet, what is the height of the ramp? So when I look at this problem, I'm going to draw myself a triangle with a ramp. Between the ground and the ramp is a 30-degree angle. And I know that the length of the ramp is 45 feet. So when I label my triangle, the other missing angle up here is 60. So I have my S side, my S root 3, and my 2S. 45 is on the side of the 2S. So 45 is equal to 2S. When I divide by 2, I get S is 22.5, which means that the height of the ramp is 22.5 feet. Number 6, Julia is flying a kite. Julia is holding the kite 4.5 feet off the ground. If Julia looks up at the kite with an angle of elevation of 45 degrees and the kite has a string of 200 feet long, how high is the kite? So here's Julia holding her kite. So I'm going to make a triangle with this. Now I know she's holding it 4.5 feet off the ground, which we're going to use at the end. Now I'm just going to look at the triangle right now. So when I look at the triangle, the string is between her hand and the kite, and the string has a length of 200 feet. So when I label the sides of my triangle, this has to be a 45, 45, 90, because she's looking up with an elevation of 45 degrees. So each side of the triangle is L, and the hypotenuse is L root 2. So I'm going to set L root 2 equal to 200 and solve for L. So divide by root 2 and rationalize by multiplying by the root that was on the bottom. 200 root 2 over 2, which reduces to 100 root 2, which means that the height of the kite is 100 root 2, but we have to include the 4 feet, 4.5 feet that she held it, so the height is my side of the triangle 100 root 2 plus 4.5 feet. Number 7, Jackie's laying on the ground making a snow angel when she looks up and notices a cardinal sitting on the branch. If Jackie is looking up at the tree with an angle of elevation of 30 degrees and is 60 feet away from the tree, how far above the ground is the cardinal? So here is my triangle. Here's our person laying on the ground. This has a 30-degree angle because she's looking up, and it makes the ground makes a right angle with the tree. So when I label across from the 30 is S, the ground would be the S root 3, and across from the 90 is 2S. It says that Jackie is 60 feet away from the tree. So along the ground is 60 feet. This is my S root 3 side. So I'm going to set that equal to 60 to solve for S. So I'm going to divide by root 3 on both sides and rationalize. So S equals 60 root 3 over 3. When I reduce these numbers, I get 20 root 3. and the tree is my 20 root 3 side. So the cardinal is 20 root 3 feet above the ground.